The night began like the others. Anakin Skywalker jolted upright, soaked in sweat, choking on the same fear that had haunted him for weeks. Padme, blood, silence. But this time, the vision did not end with her. It widened. He saw a corridor lit by fire and alarms. He heard the scream of young voices. He looked down and saw a black-gloved hand gripping a red lightsaber. The blade was his, the breathing was his, and in the polished surface of a fallen helmet, he saw the mask, Vader. Anakin staggered out of bed, as if distance could shake the force from his bones. He paced the apartment, fists clenched, trying to deny what he'd witnessed. But the images hit again. Jedi Knights cut down, temple walls burning, and Obi-Wan Kenobi staring at him with a look that wasn't anger, it was grief. "Stop," Anakin whispered, like the future could hear him. "I won't do it." Padme stirred behind him. "Ani, what's wrong?" He didn't answer, because if he said it out loud, it became real. Because if he told her he saw himself murdering children, she would look at him differently forever. And yet, the fear didn't fade. It sharpened into suspicion. If this future existed, something pushed him there. Someone guided him there. The Jedi Council, Palpatine, himself. Anakin looked out over Coruscant's endless lights, feeling trapped inside them. The Order had trained him to let go, but everything in him refused. Padme, their child, his identity, his place. The vision had shown him the price of failing. He made a choice in the dark no council meeting. No comfort, no patience. He would find the turning point before it found him. Anakin quietly dressed, clipped his lightsaber to his belt, and left the apartment without waking Padme again. Outside, the city air felt colder than it should. And in the distance, across the planet-spanning glow, the Jedi Temple stood like a silent judge. He didn't go there to report a nightmare. He went there to hunt his own future before it hunted him back. Anakin waited outside the Jedi Temple until dawn. The sky over Coruscant was gray, and the air tasted like rain and fuel. He told himself he was doing the right thing. He was choosing the light. But his hands still shook. Obi-Wan found him near the landing platforms, robe pulled tight against the wind. He didn't ask questions at first. He just studied Anakin's face and felt the storm under it. "Anakin," Obi-Wan said, calm but wary. "What happened?" Anakin swallowed. Pause. He tried to start with Padme, with the baby, with anything that sounded normal. But the Force pushed the real image forward. Black armor, red blade, screams in the temple. "I saw it," Anakin said. "Not just her. Not just death. I saw me." Obi-Wan's brow tightened. "A vision. It wasn't a maybe," Anakin snapped, then lowered his voice. It was clear. "I become Vader." The name felt wrong on his tongue, like ash. Obi-Wan flinched, not from fear of the word, but from fear of what it meant. A Jedi didn't speak that kind of future unless it had teeth. Anakin took a step closer, voice shaking with anger and desperation. "And you're there. You're the one I fight. You're the one I pause. I kill you." Silence hit like a blast door closing. Obi-Wan's eyes softened, but his posture changed. He didn't reach for his saber. Not yet. Still, he shifted, as if protecting space that had suddenly become unsafe. "That is not who you are," Obi-Wan said. Anakin heard the words, but he didn't feel comfort. He felt distance. He felt the council in Obi-Wan's spine. "So what now?" Anakin asked. "You report me?" Obi-Wan's voice stayed gentle. "I help you, but you must trust me. Tell me everything. Every detail." Anakin hesitated. The more he revealed, the more real it became. The less he revealed, the more Obi-Wan would fear him, and fear was already there. Obi-Wan turned slightly toward the temple. "We should speak with Master Yoda." Anakin's heart dropped. The council. Containment. Control. He forced a nod, but his eyes stayed on the temple doors because he suddenly wasn't sure if he was walking in for help or walking in to be watched. The council chamber felt colder than usual. High above Coruscant, the city looked small, like a toy galaxy beneath the glass. Anakin stood in the center, Obi-Wan at his side, and every master's eyes on him like weight. Mace Windu did not waste time. Obi-Wan says, "You've had visions." Anakin nodded. Pause. "They're not just dreams. They're warnings. I saw myself fall. I saw the temple burn." Ki-Adi-Mundi leaned forward. "Visions are not facts. They will be," Anakin said, voice tight. "Unless you trust me enough to act." That word trust hit the room like a challenge. Yoda's ears lowered slightly. Clouded. "The future is fear you carry." Anakin's jaw clenched. "I'm carrying the truth." Mace's tone hardened. "Control yourself, Skywalker. The Council cannot base strategy on your emotions." Anakin felt it then, sharp and clear. They weren't hearing him. They were measuring him. He could almost see the label forming behind their eyes. Unstable, attached, dangerous. "So, what do you do?" Anakin demanded. "Watch me? Sideline me? Wait until the nightmare happens?" Obi-Wan tried to calm him. "Anakin, please." But Anakin was already falling into the same trap he feared. The harder he pushed, the more they pulled back. At the end, Yoda spoke softly. "Rest. You must. The Force. Listen. You will." It wasn't comfort. It was a leash. Anakin left the chamber with heat in his chest and silence behind him. In the corridor, a red Senate guard approached with a sealed message. Chancellor Palpatine requested his presence. Immediately. In the private office, Palpatine stood by the window, perfectly calm. "My boy," he said, "you look as if the Jedi have burdened you again." Anakin didn't answer. Palpatine stepped closer, voice dropping. "You saw the ending. Good. Now, imagine having the power to change it." Anakin felt the hook sink in, because for the first time in days, someone wasn't afraid of his vision. They were offering to weaponize it. The new vision hit Anakin like a blaster shot to the chest. Not Padme, not Vader. This was a single phrase, spoken with perfect control. "Execute Order 66. In the Force, he saw it happen everywhere at once. Jedi generals turned their backs, trusting the clones they had fought beside for years. Then the rifles rose. The shots came. Masters fell, in mud, snow, and smoke. No warning, no mercy. Anakin didn't debate what it meant. He moved. He sprinted from the Senate office, cloak snapping behind him, pushing through crowds, ignoring droids, ignoring traffic. Pause. Every second felt like a life. At the temple gates, clone troopers stood on guard, helmets forward, posture rigid. They saluted him like always, but Anakin could feel something under the surface, something locked away. He forced his voice steady. "Open the gate. Now." The clones obeyed, but their heads turned in perfect sync, like machines waiting for a signal. Inside, Anakin didn't go to the council chamber. He went to the security center, the heart of the temple, the place that recorded everything. Jocasta Nu stared as he stormed in. "Knight Skywalker, this area is restricted. Then restrict it later," Anakin said. "Get Obi-Wan. Get Yoda. Right now." The guards tried to block him. Anakin turned, eyes hard. "You trust me with a war, but not with a warning?" That line cut through the room. Reluctantly, the temple guard stepped back. Anakin accessed the Republic channels and demanded a medical scan on the nearest clone unit. The technician hesitated, then complied. The display showed a foreign implant buried deep in the brain. Anakin's blood ran cold. "That's not standard." The clone commander's voice suddenly changed, flat, programmed. Jedi are not authorized to access that information. Anakin stepped closer. Who are you answering to? For a moment, the clones didn't move. Then, as if a switch flipped, every blaster in the room rose toward Anakin's chest at the exact same time. And over the comms, a calm voice whispered through static. Too early, Skywalker. The temple security room stayed frozen in a deadly pause. Clone blasters aimed at Anakin's chest, perfectly still. Then the doors hissed open, and Obi-Wan entered with 2 temple guards behind him. He took one look at the implants on the screen and went pale. Anakin, what have you done? I found the trigger, Anakin said, and it's in their heads. Before Obi-Wan could respond, every holo screen in the room flashed red. Emergency broadcast. Senate priority. The Chancellor's seal burned bright. Palpatine appeared, calm and sorrowful, as if he had practiced this speech 1,000 times. Pause. Citizens of the Republic, today I survived an attempted coup by the Jedi Order. Obi-Wan's breath caught. Anakin's stomach dropped. Palpatine continued, voice heavy with false pain. They infiltrated government systems, accessed classified military data, and moved against the stability of the Republic. Their actions have forced me to take immediate steps to ensure peace. The feed cut to security footage, edited, cropped, and timed perfectly. It showed Anakin storming into the temple security center. It showed clone troopers raising weapons. It showed Jedi guards drawing sabers. It looked like the Jedi were taking control of the Grand Army. Mace Windu's voice crackled over comms, furious. Chancellor, this is a lie. Palpatine didn't flinch. Master Windu, stand down. You have proven my point. Across Coruscant, sirens wailed. Senate guards poured into streets. Senators rushed into chambers, shouting for protection. The public saw only one thing. Jedi and clones, aiming at each other inside the temple. No one asked why. Palpatine's final words landed like a death sentence. By emergency decree, the Jedi Order is hereby charged with treason. All Jedi are to surrender peacefully. Those who resist will be treated as enemies of the Republic. Obi-Wan stared at Anakin, realization burning in his eyes. He turned your warning into his weapon. Outside the security room, the temple's outer doors boomed heavy impacts. Coordinated, controlled, not clones firing, Senate commandos breaching. Anakin ignited his saber, blue light filling the room. Pause. They're coming for us. And this time, the war began with the Jedi trapped in their own home. The Jedi Temple shook under the impact of breaching charges. Somewhere below, alarms screamed and metal groaned. Obi-Wan was already moving to rally defenders, but Anakin stood still for one dangerous second. Padme, the baby, the mask. If the Republic wanted the Jedi dead, the war wasn't in the halls. It was in the Senate Tower, behind one calm smile. I'm ending this, Anakin said. Obi-Wan grabbed his arm. Anakin, don't go alone. I don't have time, Anakin replied. Pause. Every path leads to Vader unless I change the first step. He slipped away through a service corridor and took a stolen speeder across the skyline. Coruscant flashed by in streaks of light and smoke, and the Force felt like a tightening noose. He didn't feel like a hero. He felt like a man trying to outrun a shadow. Senate security tried to stop him at the Chancellor's office. Anakin ignited his saber once. Blue light. One warning. The guards backed away. Palpatine waited inside, hands folded, as if he had never raised an army in secret. Anakin, he said warmly, you've come at last. Anakin stepped forward, rage controlled, voice low. Call off the attack. Release the clones. End this. Palpatine's smile thinned. So certain you can save them. Pause. Tell me, Did the vision frighten you? Anakin froze. You know, I gave it to you, Palpatine said, almost proud. A glimpse behind the curtain, a taste of what you could be. Anakin's stomach turned. You showed me children dying. Palpatine's eyes sharpened. I showed you the Jedi's fate and your own power. The fear was the point. Fear makes you reach far enough, and you stop asking who holds your hand. Anakin's grip tightened on his saber. You used the Force to break me. Palpatine stepped closer, voice a whisper. No, my boy. I used the truth. Because every time you fight the future, you become obsessed with controlling it. The office lights dimmed. Outside, distant explosions echoed from the Temple District. Palpatine leaned in. Now choose. Save Padme, or save the Jedi. And for the first time, Anakin realized the vision wasn't a warning. It was a test. Obi-Wan burst into the Chancellor's office with his lightsaber already drawn. His eyes locked on Anakin first, not Palpatine. Pause. He had seen too many Jedi fall in this war. He would not lose Anakin the same way. Step away from him, Obi-Wan warned, voice tight. Anakin didn't move. He kept his blue blade low, not aimed at Obi-Wan, not aimed at Palpatine. For a moment, the room held its breath. Palpatine smiled like a patient teacher. Master Kenobi, how predictable. Obi-Wan advanced one step. Anakin, listen to me. Whatever he promised you, I know. Anakin cut in. Pause. His voice was steady, but his eyes looked tired, like he'd aged a year in a day. He promised me an ending I could control. Palpatine lifted a hand slightly, as if guiding the conversation. He fears losing his wife. He fears becoming what he saw. Obi-Wan's expression flickered. What did you see? Anakin swallowed. I saw myself become Vader. Obi-Wan's grip tightened. The name landed like poison. He glanced at Palpatine, then back at Anakin, searching for the crack where the darkness might already be growing. Palpatine leaned in, voice smooth. You know the truth now, Anakin. Take the power, save her, let the Jedi burn. That was the trap. It wasn't just power, it was permission. Anakin stepped forward toward Palpatine, not away. His saber rose, not to strike Obi-Wan, but to point at the Chancellor's heart. No, Anakin said. Pause. You don't get to name me. Palpatine's smile faded. Anakin turned his head slightly to Obi-Wan. I won't lie anymore. I'm afraid. I'm angry. But I'm not your weapon, and I'm not his. Obi-Wan's eyes softened. Just a fraction. Then stand with us. Anakin nodded once. I am. Palpatine's face hardened, and the air shifted as the dark side surged like a storm. Outside the tower, sirens wailed. Inside, the Chancellor's office lights flickered, and Palpatine finally dropped the mask. Then you will both die as traitors. Lightning exploded from his hands. Lightning slammed into the room, tearing chunks of marble from the floor. Obi-Wan caught the first blast on his blade, forced back by pure hate. Anakin stepped in beside him, crossing sabers, shoulders braced. Pause. Together, they held the storm. Palpatine's face twisted, no longer kindly, no longer human. You could have been eternal, he hissed. Anakin's voice cut through the crackling air. I'd rather be free. They pushed forward. Palpatine retreated, then snapped his wrist and hurled a Senate pod like a missile. Obi-Wan deflected it, but the impact shattered the window wall. Wind roared in, and the skyline opened like a cliff. Palpatine lunged, fast, precise. His red blade met Anakin's blue in a brutal clash. Anakin's arms burned. He wasn't fighting a politician now. He was fighting the Sith. Obi-Wan moved to flank, but Palpatine spun and blasted him with lightning again. Obi-Wan hit the floor hard, smoke rising from his robes. Anakin saw it, his vision, the moment where Obi-Wan dies. The fear surged up his throat. He didn't run from it. He jumped into it. Anakin threw himself between Palpatine and Obi-Wan, taking the next blast on his saber until the metal screamed. The blade held, barely. His knees buckled, but he stayed standing. "Enough," Anakin growled, and drove forward with the Force. Palpatine slammed into the edge of the shattered window frame. For the first time, his control slipped. He looked, shocked. Then, alarms outside changed pitch. Gunships circled. Holodrones hovered near the broken wall, recording everything. Palpatine smiled through pain. "Good," he whispered. "Let them watch." Anakin turned and saw the headline forming in real time. Jedi Assault Chancellor. Jedi traitors confirmed. He realized the duel wasn't just a fight. It was evidence. And across Coruscant, the Republic began to break, while Anakin, alive and shaking, understood the war had only changed its shape.